Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and I'm once again joined by a man who introduced the Golden Jobber Award last week. Mike, say hello, Mike.
Yeah, I didn't think you would take that seriously, and you did. So now I have pressure to deliver every week on a golden jobber.
I
If we
mean,
do
we.
end up selling merch, that would be great to go on the merch store.
What if we do these like every month instead of every week? That's
Okay,
like less
that's
pressure,
it's better.
but
It's better for you for editing. And yeah, okay, that actually makes more sense.
we'll do it
Um,
at the end of the month, I guess.
okay, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Wait a minute. It's kind of the end of the. Oh, that's next week. Whatever. Whatever. I guess. Yeah. So we'll just do it. Okay. I think we'll just do it because we're near the end of the month anyway. We'll do one last Golden Jobber award for this month, and then we'll just do it at the end of the month next month. Just inform us if we forget. To just say, hey, you forgot to nominate some people for Golden Jobbers, and well, we're gonna do it. Okay, just
So
remind
I
us
I
before
I
we
know
forget.
now. I know now that we've named it the LA Knight Memorial Golden Jobber Award, but LA Knight is still active, and it'd be kind of weird if we give him his own award. So should we rename it to something else? Is there like someone who's not active anymore
We're
who's a known jobber?
we're not memorializing LA Knight here. We're memorializing LA Knight's potential in the
Yes.
WWE. Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear here. We're not saying he's dead, but his potential as a world heavyweight
His
champion
push
might be
is
dead.
dead. It's dead. It's
Yeah.
gone.
I don't know. Should we call it the LA Knight Championship Potential Memorial Golden Jobber Award? That's like too long though. That's a long ass name.
That is too long. I would keep it as LA Knight because he is the golden jobber. He's the top jobber. You know, he's the guy that you feed the potential champion to. Because LA Knight is always this guy who's like, don't worry, bro. 2 weeks, bro. He'll get there. And then 2 weeks comes and they give it to Yeet Man. You're like, nah, bro. 2 more weeks.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll just keep the naming convention. So, I guess we'll just formally go to the segment then. It's time for the LA Knight Memorial Golden Jobber Award for this week. I'm going to award it because Mike awards it for SmackDown. I am going to award it for Raw. I, of course, am going to give it to our one and only LA Knight, as we said. Man has potential. I guess if there was a backup, I would probably just put that person on there. But as of right now, I think LA Knight is there. He is the Golden Jobber, as we said earlier. So
They really had a chance. It was Seth Rollins is injured, right? Where Jey Uso is tied up in another story with Jimmy Uso. You really had the opportunity. Like the path was wide open for LA Knight to get a shot at the title. I mean, CM Punk probably would have won it anyway. But instead, they have him outlasted by a fucking Dom. And then Yeet Man wins it. And it's like after I saw that, I was like, you know what? I'm done. He's not getting it anytime soon. Because if there was any time to give it to him, it was there. Because you could give it to him, he would be a transitional champion up until WrestleMania. Someone takes him from WrestleMania, and then it's done. And then everybody be happy because he has his title and he can go home and but nope. No. It's gonna be given to Unk or Yeet Man. Again.
yep. Yeah, it's
The only
either-
reason Jey
yeah.
Uso gets these shots is because he's really good with the kids, man.
And don't forget the Rikishi, bro. Rikishi is watching the show intently. He is staring at that screen. And any time that Jey Uso loses, he loses his shit and has to phone Triple H saying, "Hey, why the hell did Jey Uso lost? Come on, man. Friggin' make him win. That's my what is it, grandson or some shit.
I think
My
it's
son?
his grandson or his uncle or something. It's
Yeah.
not his son. I think it's like his uncle or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to see my grandson lose. Friggin' put him in as a winner. And then Triple H is like, alright. And there you go. I guess Jey Uso has the opportunity now. So, congrats LA Knight for once again, I guess, getting your own award. But, I don't know. There's no freaking rules on this anyways. Whatever. And that's that. Golden Jobber Award goes to LA Knight for this week. And now, onto the show proper. We're gonna book the next episode of Monday Night Raw as we head into Saturday night's main event, which is, I believe, next Saturday. So we're gonna be booking the Go Home show for Saturday night's main event, and we are going to book them, as you know, based on these rules. Fairly self-explanatory. You all know this, we know this, and yeah, we're just gonna tell you how we think the next show is gonna go on this episode of this show. And after that, we are going to watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw, and then we are going to just distribute some points on our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system, and then we are going to tell you our points on the next episode of the show, and the cycle repeats over and over ad infinitum. So, let's get to the scores. I have a 7, and 7, that's because of the Vision appearance. Again, 1 point for each member of the Vision. And then Stephanie and Roxanne Perez, I got those appearances predicted, and they were there. I also got the Dominic Mysterio win against Rusev, as well as AJ Styles and Dragon Lee winning the, I suppose, World Tag Team Championships from the Judgment Day, which is shocking, but I guess that's what's needed for this tag team division to, I suppose, revitalize itself. But what about you, Mike? What'd you get?
I had a 4.5. I think I actually had a 6.5, now that I think of it, because I forgot that I also had the Vision showing up, and I forgot that the Vision is 1 point per person and not 1 point for the faction as a whole.
Yeah.
So that is my mistake. I have a 6.5. Anyway, yes, I got most of my points spread across the show, mainly from Finn Balor and JD McDonough losing the titles to AJ Lee, and Jey Uso and LA Knight showing up in the Battle Royale, as well as Dominic retaining his IC title. Dominic had I think he pulled triple duty in this show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he showed up during the World Tag Team Championship fight.
Yeah.
And then he went on to defend his title against Rusev, and then he went on to the main event in the Battle Royale and lasted to the end. So he's been putting in the work, man.
And that's probably why he's getting over, I suppose. He's getting a lot of opportunities because he's getting over. So good on him, I suppose. But yeah. Anyway, I have no transition for that. Let's, I suppose, move on to what is announced on the show, at least officially. We got Jey Uso and CM Punk as they go face to face, and we have a Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez match to look forward to on the next episode. So without further ado, let's book this thing and get to my version of the show as Jey Uso and CM Punk go face to face first. We have CM Punk coming out. He says, "Isn't it good to be alive and on a Monday night in whatever town they are?" Or what? You know, that iconic CM Punk catchphrase. He then talks about his hatred for Seth Rollins and the Vision, but says, Seth is not part of the Vision anymore. And so he has a chance to get what is owed to him, which is the World Heavyweight Championship. However, in order to do so, in order to get what he is owed, he must go through one Jey Uso. Jey Uso, who is probably a puppet of Roman and not as good as his brother. And, he might be cool with the kids, but he's had that championship before and he lost it because, well, I don't know. He probably sold out or something, I guess. I don't know. But either way, he's had that before. He lost it. And now it is CM Punk's turn to get his title. He's then interrupted by Jey Uso, who says he doesn't need anyone's help. He is not Roman's pawn. He is not like his brother. He is better than his brother. And he can get that title with or without, or I should just say without, anyone's help. Jey Uso will get that title with or without anyone else by his side. Mostly without. They are then ambushed by Division, which leads to the main event, which is CM Punk and Jey Uso versus Division. And we go from that to Kabuki Warriors versus Lyra, Valkyria, and Bayley. Now, why? Because I think they're just looking for a women's, tag team championship contender. And there seems to be two. It's either the Kabuki Warriors or Lyra, Valkyria, and Bayley. And I know they're positioning Lyra and Bayley to be the next one, but we got to give them some adversity. So that's why we have this match. I'm going to have Lyra and Bayley win here due to interference from Io. And despite interference from the Judgment Day to Lyra and Bayley to sort of keep them off their game. This leads to Lyra and Bayley versus Charlotte and Alexa at SmackDown on Friday or Raw next week for the Women's Tag Team Championships, but I'm leaning towards a SmackDown on Friday instead of Monday Night Raw. And I think this may be the next War Games match. I think it may revolve around not these four women necessarily. We can add more, but I think it's gonna be around the women's tag team sort of situation. And I think this is what the direction that they're going for if they are gonna do a women's War Games match. But that's what I think. We're gonna move on from that to Nikki Bella, unfortunately, versus Roxanne Perez. And I'm gonna have Roxanne Perez win after a distraction from Raquel Rodriguez. After the match, Roxanne and Raquel beat Nikki Bella up. Stephanie comes up for the save. And I think this is going to lead to Nikki Bella versus Raquel Rodriguez next week. And another match between Stephanie and Roxanne Perez for the Women's World Championship. Probably next week as well. I don't know if this will be a Saturday Night's Main Event match. If it is, then fine. But I think this is more Saturday Night's Main Event-y than next week on Raw, but we'll see. Or I should say the week after this one. But anyway, we'll move on from that to Dragon Lee versus Xavier Woods. This happens because we're propping up the New Day as the next number one contender for the Tag Team Championships. Because the tag team situation on Raw is abysmal. So we got to build up the New Day. And I'm going to have Xavier Woods win via roll-up with some cheating involved from Kofi Kingston. This will lead to AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston next week. And then we're going to have the New Day versus AJ Dragon Lee. Or not next week. Sorry. AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston next week. And then after that will be New Day versus AJ/Dragon Lee for the Tag Team Championships. I don't think this will be a Saturday Night's Main Event situation. If it does happen at Saturday Night's Main Event, then I guess fine. It's going to have the least amount of build, but whatever. So, yeah, that's what I have for that. We'll move on to a Becky Lynch promo. Becky Lynch comes out to the ring. She talks about her win against Maxine Dupree last week. Says that she is a weakling. She is a nobody. There is no one to challenge Becky now for this title. and that she's going to have it forever. And once again, I am drawing up an old pitch, but whatever, I'll bring it up once again. I'm going to have Natalya come out again. I'm going to pitch Natalya coming back. And Natalya basically says that she wants to defend her friend. What Becky did last week to Maxine Dupree was just shocking. It was outright, unexcusable. It's unacceptable. And Natalya wants to stand up for her friend. And we're going to have a brawl between Becky and Natalya. And that leads to the match that they're going to have, Becky Lynch versus Natalya. I'm going to have Natalya win after a distraction from Maxine Dupree. And then after the match, Becky Lynch beats up Natalya some more. She's kind of furious. She's angry that Natalya, won. And then we're going to have Maxine brawl with Becky. Natalya's just still on the ring. We're going to have them fight out of the ring and to the back with Maxine barely winning the brawl. And I really think this is going to go to Maxine versus Becky in a rematch. But this time, it's no DQ for the Women's IC Championship at Saturday night's main event. I think that's the direction. Just a rematch, but with no stipulations. Again, I think this is just to protect Maxine Dupree's wrestling ability, which is why it's a no DQ match. But whatever, we're just going to have them in a street fight or something like that for the Women's IC Championship at Saturday night's main event. That's what I have for that. And then Natalya can probably challenge her afterward. And then maybe AJ Lee. Who knows? But we'll move on to the main event, which is CM Punk and Jey Uso as they take on Division's Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And as always, I'm going to have Division win here by pinfall because of miscommunication between CM Punk and Jey Uso. Again, this is the sort of will they, won't they kind of, build for every one of these championship matches in the WWE. It's a well-worn gimmick. And after the match, we're going to have all four men brawl. However, we're going to have LA Knight come out. He beats up Division, but then from behind, he is super kicked by Jey Uso because, again, Jey Uso doesn't like LA Knight. I'm pretty sure Punk doesn't like him either. And LA Knight is cleared from the ring, as well as Division. And then we're going to have Jey and Punk brawl. However, Jey is on top as the show goes off the air. I think Punk is winning this one. If they give it to Jey, this is a mistake by the company. And whatever. Just give it to Unk. Just give it to Unk. I don't know why we're giving it to Jey. Just give it to Unk, all right? I don't know why we're sort of, having this situation where we got to give it to Jey again. It's just stupid, in my opinion. So I'm going to have Jey go on top because I think Punk is going to go over at Saturday night's main event. And he will, probably, most likely, get the title. Any questions?
So I would have said the same thing about Maxine Dupree being in an ODQ against Becky Lynch, but she clearly showed that she does have some ability, so I don't think they'll go that route. I think she does need a little bit more time in the oven, but I think she'll get it probably after either Natalya or AJ Lee get it from Becky Lynch.
Well, I also think that the feud between them is just not that intensified, which is why I had that brawl set up as well. Just to sort of build up the rivalry between them, I guess. Give it some more spice and significance. And the no DQ match can be sort of the end all be all, right, for that. So that's why I have that there. Also, they have a tendency to go for no DQ matches for rematches. I don't know if you've noticed this, but
that is true. Yes.
Cody and Cena was the rematch, right? That's a street fight. We had Lyra versus Becky, also a no DQ match, right? They have a tendency to go for street fights or no DQs. for rematches, and that's what I think will happen here. So that's why I have it as such.
Okay. Do you think Jey Uso turns heel at Saturday night's main event? 'Cause I
I
think he
think so.
does.
I think so. I think after the match, after Punk wins, he's probably gonna go full on mad and just attack Punk, which will probably lead to a Survivor Series, not a War Games match, but it will lead to a match. Oh my god, I hate to say this again, but it's probably gonna go for a street fight between the two. God with this company, but yeah, I do think Jey Uso turns heel after Saturday night's main event for sure.
Okay. All right. So you think they're gonna give it to Unk and then
Yes.
Jey Uso?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Let's get to your card then. Starting off with
I have a Jey Uso promo and a Jey Uso CM Punk face off to start off this show. The face off is interrupted by the Vision. There is not a brawl, but there's a little bit of shoving and whatnot. And this is a tag match is booked, not booked at the spot, but booked later on in the show for the main event.
all right,
So,
simple enough. Simple.
yes,
I
yes.
reserve my questions. Yeah.
I think CM Punk insinuates, things about Jay, about him wanting to be like Roman, and I think they have dropped some hints along the way as to what may happen. So, we'll see.
I just thought this as of now. Do you think Roman comes back and helps Jay win?
So here's my prediction. It's a very wild one, but I can see them running with this because of the fact that they apparently don't know what to do with Bronson Reed, who again, remind you, just beat the shit out of Roman Reigns by himself.
Yeah.
And Braun Breaker. I think what happens is Jey Uso turns heel and joins the Vision because of Paul Heyman.
Well, oh, you're saying Jay?
Yes.
Wow.
Because they need a guy. They need a upper card guy. Despite again Bronson Reed beating Roman Reigns, they need a established upper card guy to sort of reinvigorate that faction, because it seems kind of like it's just two dudes who are stuck doing nothing because they have no belts. They haven't even challenged for a tag title yet. So I think they need a guy, and I think that this kind of plays into Jay's wanting to become Roman kind of deal. Now, I know that he said he doesn't need anyone's help, but I think they pivot because of the fact that Seth Rollins is out and it's Paul Heyman. It's a very wild prediction, but I can see them taking this swerve because the Vision seem kind of headless at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
It does seem very weird because Jey Uso is sort of the yeet man, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're kind of sacrificing his popularity just to turn him heel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. and obviously this will change the War Games match, the men's War Games match as well.
Yes,
if Roman
I think
is
that
involved.
This is also needed for the War Games match, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll move on from that. I'll reserve more questions for the main event, too.
Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez. I think Roxanne wins thanks to interference from Raquel. This is so that they can build to, I guess, a potential tag match for next week between the two teams. Stephanie runs down after the match for the save. Pretty bog standard building to a tag team match stuff here. Not much more to say, honestly. So.
Yep. I don't know why Nikki Bella came back. Who asked? But I guess, yeah. we'll roll on with it, I suppose. But we'll move on from that to
Was actually confirmed because there was, I guess, an Instagram post by Bailey who challenged the tag team holders to a title fight with her and Bailey, or with her and Lyra, apparently. So I think that happens on this Raw, and I think what happens is the Kabuki Warriors run in and cause a no contest. And then Rhea comes down afterwards to beat up Asuka while there's kind of a brawl that goes on after the fight. I think this helps build up to War Games potentially.
yeah.
I'm not sure how, but I think this is gonna kind of be all the players in the War Games match. So
Well, let's think about this. So okay, so on the babyface side, you got Alexa and Charlotte. I guess they are baby faces. Rhea, Io, maybe Kyrie, maybe. And then on the heel side, you have Asuka. Yeah.
well,
Oh,
Bailey.
actually,
Oh yeah, Bailey on the face side, yeah, or the
yeah.
heel side if they want to go back to her being schizo again. Which it doesn't seem like they're doing. It seems like they tried it for a week and then we're like, actually, no, we're just gonna have her go back to being a face again.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be harder to determine the heel side, but as I said in earlier weeks, I would have it build to Kyrie turning on Asuka. I would have it happen in the War Games match specifically, and then maybe some other stuff like I don't know, Nikki. No.
It really shouldn't be this difficult, but it is.
Yeah, they made
Like
it
it's
difficult on themselves, I suppose.
the women's side especially, but I mean the men's side was just unfortunate with Seth getting injured, but it really just feels like there's no big threat because usually they save like a big threat for War Games, like the Judgment Day, the Bloodline, right? There's no like big threat, big heel group that can be put in War Games, so it just kind of feels like they're doing the whole, I don't know, let's have a bunch of faces and a bunch of heels in a ring together. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I don't know. Again, we're asking. I think if there is going to be a women's War Games match, it's gonna be difficult on them to put together one. But if there isn't, then it's less pressure on them to actually just make. Actually, you know what? They could just make this a traditional like 5-on-5 elimination match. Like I don't see why this needs to be a War Games match. Like if they put 5 women, 5 babyface women, and 5 heel women, make it a traditional Survivor Series match. There you go. Instead of a War Games match. That way,
Yeah.
you kind of have. There are probably complaints from people who are like, "I'm sick of War Games," and so you get one War Games match for those people who like War Games, and then you have the women's match be the traditional Survivor Series match. You don't need War Games for that. You can just have it happen
Yeah.
like in a normal match. Yeah. Anyway, and it's gonna be hard for them to come up with a women's match. That's for sure. But anyway, we'll move on from that to
A Becky Lynch promo. Becky comes out, says a few things about Seth Rollins, but tells everyone kind of what you said, where there's really no one left to face Becky since she's taken out all of her challengers. She is interrupted by AJ Lee. I still think they're going to do this because Natalya doesn't seem to be as active anymore. She's kind of only brought back for like an occasional, war game, or not war game, but like Royal Rumble. She's brought back for like, to tag up with Maxine for, maybe like a tag team tournament or something. She's really only brought back as sort of a filler right now. I don't think they're going to do
okay.
anything with her just yet. And I think that Becky already beat her anyway a while back. So I think
Yeah.
they're gonna throw AJ Lee in here, because I mean they just signed her and she's still pretty hot. So I think that makes the most sense.
Hot as
They built,
in the audience is
yes,
just so to
yes,
clarify.
yes. Hot
Yeah.
as in, the audience, recognizing her and
Yes.
cheering her as a baby
Just
face.
want
Yes,
to clarify it for
yes,
some people. Yeah.
yes, yeah. No gooning,
No gooning.
no gooning
We're
allowed
not we're
in this
not
show.
fans of gooning on this
No,
show.
no gooning allowed in the show.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that is where they go, and she challenges her for the belt in a no DQ match.
Yeah.
At maybe Saturday night's main event, but probably not because the card is almost full. So
Yeah, I think if they're gonna pull the trigger on AJ Lee, they might as well do a Survivor Series. It's one of the big four. It's a big show, kind of considered a big show. So you might as well just put it there instead of Saturday night's main event, and then have it build up there. I don't see why not. But to me, I don't know, man. I I kind of forgot about AJ Lee, so I was just like Natalya, might as well. But I don't see why they wouldn't pull the trigger on AJ Lee being the next challenger for Becky Lynch. I mean, the story is already there, so why not just extrapolate on that? So, do you think AJ Lee? I think I've asked this already, but do you think AJ Lee wins the title, or do you think Becky still keeps it, and you're gonna drag out this rivalry?
I think Becky wins and you drag out this rivalry. I mean, maybe it's not a no DQ match because maybe you need to build that up. Um, but to me, it would seem kind of dumb. It would make AJ Lee seem kind of dumb, where it's like, I'm going to challenge you to just a regular fight, even though she just saw that Becky took advantage of that and still won. So, anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's how they do it because then they need to build up to a no DQ fight. So, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, she challenges her to a belt, to a title fight for her belt. So,
All right. Well, we'll move on from that to
a intercontinental triple threat match between Dominic, Rusev, and Penta. Now, you're probably saying, why are you having this on this random episode of Raw instead of having this at Saturday night's main event or having this on Survivor Series? Well, this could be at Saturday night's main event. That could happen. But like I said, the card is basically almost full. I mean, you have Jey Uso as CM Punk, you have Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, you have now Tiffany and
Jade.
Jade Cargill. Yes, Tiffany and Jade again. You have 3 matches. They usually only do 4. I don't think they're gonna do 4 title fights in a row. Um, So I think this happens on this episode of Raw because they're not going to put it on Saturday night's main event. They may actually do that, but it's a 50-50 shot in my opinion. And I think that this not rivalry, not a feud, but this story has kind of hit its peak now, where there's not much more you can do with these three, and you can't really let this continue to build for like another month because there's not much more you can do. And I think you need to blow it off. And I think this is where they do it. And I think Penta finally wins this because this starts the downfall of the Judgment Day. And boy, howdy, do you know that Triple H is just waiting to turn Dominic face because he is
Yeah.
going to make them a shitload of money because
Oh,
apparently this
yeah.
fucking goofball is so over.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. I think the face turn is coming as well. I agree with you. Yeah. So, I did you say who will win this one?
Penta.
Oh, Penta. Right. Okay. So, Dom's first rivalry after losing the title. Where do you think Dom goes from here after turning face?
So
I
I think he
suppose.
participates in the downfall of the Judgment Day. I think they break up eventually when Liv comes back.
Yeah.
And I think once the Judgment Day is finally dead, like completely dead, I think he probably goes after the World Heavyweight title. I think that's where they're going to put him. Because, I mean, you saw it. They gave him, like, you know, he was second to last in that
Yeah,
in that battle
he did
royale.
really
So I mean,
well.
he
Yeah,
definitely, yeah, they definitely are pushing him. So I think that's where he goes next.
makes, I guess, sense. Where do you think Rusev goes from here?
I think Rusev goes back to challenging Penta for the IC title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have those two fight. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
all right, makes sense.
Or
I
maybe he goes back
suppose.
to the New Day.
Oh
It's
God, no,
Rusev Day.
no. So the Rusev Day, I think, was just a tag team with him and some other guy who I think is in TNA now. So no relation to the New Day at all. But
Oh,
if they
well,
wanna, yeah, no. But if they wanna put him in the New Day with what's his name, the Australian guy,
Grayson
Grayson
Waller?
Waller, yeah, yeah. If they want to put him in, the New Day is a faction now, guys. We got two other people with the traditional tag team. But if they want to put Rusev in the New Day, I guess since they're heel, they're kind of compatible. I guess I don't know, but it's gonna be hard, in my opinion, to see where Rusev goes from here. But we shall see if Dom still retains the title. But yeah, let's hope he probably doesn't. I don't know. We shall see. Anyway, next, which is the main event, I should say.
Is LA Knight and CM Punk versus The Vision. So what I think happens on the show is after the face-off, you know, CM Punk is trying to get Jey Uso to join him again, a tag team fight against The Vision. Jey Uso is non-committal, and eventually he leaves in mid-show. And I think that sets up for his heel turn and where he joins The Vision at Saturday night's main event. So CM Punk, starved for a partner, finds LA Knight, who is featured on this show. LA Knight, again, the winner of this week's Golden Jobber Award.
Yeah.
He and CM Punk team up. There's another, you know, will they, won't they, can they coexist thing going on. And I think the Vision win via pinfall on probably LA Knight because, you know, he is the Golden Jobber. And I think this sets up CM Punk to win at Saturday night's main event. And I think after that is when Jey Uso turns heel.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. So another sort of question is how do you think the Vision will be involved as well in the Punk and Uso match? Because there's
So
like a couple factors. Yeah.
There are. I think what happens is Jey Uso, you know, he basically is in communication with Paul Heyman. And he basically tells Paul, like, I can do this on my own. I don't need your help right now. I think what happens is that maybe Jimmy tries to interfere on his behalf. Maybe, you know, maybe Jimmy tries to come out and he fails. And maybe that costs Jey the title. And then Jey, who is fed up now with the fact that Jimmy has failed him on multiple occasions, is like, you know what, fuck it. And then he calls the Vision out and they beat up CM Punk and Jimmy. And that is the new faction because they do need a third man because we need to build for War Games.
Yeah.
And if you want to turn Jey heel, this is really, I think, the best way you can do it. And even though this is probably not the most predictable outcome, I think this is a possible outcome. Not just fantasy booking. I think this is a possible outcome because of the fact that they need a leading guy for the Vision, even though, again, Bronson Reed beat Roman Reigns by himself.
Yeah.
Why they keep forgetting this? Why Bronson Reed continues to act like a lackey to Braun Breaker despite, again, beating Roman Reigns? I don't know.
Maybe we should have the opposite of the Golden Jobber Award for people like Bronson, you know, who are unrecognized for their contributions, positive or otherwise.
Not only did he beat Roman Reigns, he beat Roman Reigns on multiple occasions, and for some reason he's treated like a mid-carder.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
I don't know. He should get a special participation trophy or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Ah, maybe I think you know what? I think it's Bronson's time. Who is the IC champion right now?
Dumb?
Dom? Oh, well, okay. Well, that's fuck. I was gonna say go for Dom's title, I suppose.
Yeah, you could have him go for the IC title after Dom loses it, maybe. To Penta, possibly, yeah. You could. You could.
Yeah, the thing is, you're like keeping a lot of them on hold because, again, Triple H has a knack of dragging stories for way too long, and it's just not a lot of interest now. So I would rather have Bronson go for the IC title, maybe a tag team title, but Dom is wrapped up in all of that. Rusev and Penta. So it's just like I don't know, man. It's just ah whatever. Anyway, we'll just wrap it up with some disappointment there, I suppose. We will watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw. Who knows? Maybe they'll recognize Bronson Reed's duty, and maybe they'll give him a title match at some point. I don't know. Maybe we'll have Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns again at Survivor Series. I hopefully not. Maybe a War Games match instead. But whatever. We'll watch the next episode. We'll do the points. We'll do this whole thing again in the next episode of this show. But until then, thank you for ordering a pepperoni pizza called Probably Next Week on Raw from Grapperinos. And remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.